Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Day 3, post E3 show wrap-up with me, Dan Webb, and you, Walker.
Richard Walker.
Richard Walker.
Rich Walker.
So another busy day. Yesterday we talked about what we saw on Tuesday, and I've got obviously Wednesday now in LA. Just after rush hour, so the traffic is dropping down.
Bit chilly
so
as
It's a bit chilly. But yeah, this is our last post E3 day wrap up. Because tomorrow we won't have time to shoot one. But what we're going to do is obviously all the previews and etc. Video interviews, video gameplay previews. They'll all be on xboxachievements.com, PlayStationTrophies.org after like next week onwards. But we've got a big day tomorrow, which is unfortunately, while it's a shame that we're missing the post-day content. But today we're going to talk about day 3, which is technically day 2. But yeah, so saw a lot of games today, Mr. Walker?
I saw lots of games, indeed.
Okay, let's start from the top. We'll just jump back and forth between me and you. First things first, Lara Croft. Temple of the Osiris.
And the Temple of Osiris.
Oh, okay. I've got Guardian of like 2 on here.
Yeah,
which is effectively what it is, right?
They hadn't announced it when we wrote that up, right?
Yes.
So we know what it is now. So it's Lara and fellow adventurers. They're now going kind of Egyptian. So the Temple of Osiris is where it's set. And there's all sorts of Egyptian mythology stuff in there. And now it's 4-player co-op and it's a next-gen focused development. And I got to play and it's quite cool.
Okay, so more of the same kind of thing, yeah?
Kind of, yeah.
With a few little tweaks and upgrades.
Yeah, well, now that it's 4-player co-op, obviously they've had to redesign certain stuff to cater for that. And it's drop in and drop out as well. So the game reconfigures based on how many players are in there.
Okay.
It does that dynamically.
Okay.
So that's quite cool. So that's one of the changes. And there's more kind of customization. There's amulets and rings and different things that gives you buffs and stuff like that.
Okay, pretty cool.
Yeah, quite cool.
Let's move on to the biggie of your day.
Yes.
Destiny.
Yeah, well, a lot of people I've been talking to who played it already kind of said that they didn't think that much of it. So I went in with my expectations lowered a little bit, and I was pleasantly surprised that it's actually really good.
So you spent an hour with it today, right?
I did, yeah.
30 minutes multiplayer, 30 minutes strike mode.
Yeah.
So just talk a bit about multiplayer and then we'll move on to strike.
Well, unfortunately, multiplayer, I only got to play one map, but twice. Same mode, same, game mode and map and everything.
What was it, like deathmatch or?
It was, like Hardpoint in Titanfall. You're taking control of A, B and C points.
Territories, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And it was really good fun. It was really cool. It was good to get to grips with the Guardian's abilities.
Okay.
And they all have big double jumps and it makes them really mobile. You can get around the map really fast. But I was looking over at other people who were playing, and they were playing on like a moon map, which had vehicles and stuff, so that was a bigger map. I didn't get to play that one.
That's a shame.
So I got to play on one called the Rusted Lands, which is a close quarters map, quite tight, so yeah, different kind of thing. I would like to have tried both, but there you go.
Okay, obviously it's Bungie developing this.
Yes.
You've played Halo?
Yes.
Does it feel like it? Is it?
I was actually really surprised how little it feels like Halo. It feels slightly, like Halo sometimes felt a little bit floaty.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It doesn't feel quite as floaty, it feels a lot tighter and kind of meatier, I feel. And the gunplay feels a bit chunkier.
Okay.
So yeah, and there's other cool stuff. I played Strike as well, which is like raids. So you go up against hordes of enemies and you fight a boss at the end.
Yeah.
And it's you have a 3-player fire team. There's other fire teams in the world, but you don't really interact with them much. You can if you want, but you don't.
Can they join your raid?
Possibly. I don't really know about that actually, but none of them did. They just kind of came up to us, and so you can compare your stuff, and by pressing the options button.
Yeah, actually, wasn't there a demo, a conference at one of the shows where they had loads of people fighting like a big?
Yeah.
That was more than 3, right?
Yeah, I think that was probably a player event within the single player story thing or the multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
But this was specifically, they called it Intense Arcade Action, so it's a kind of standalone kind of mode that's a bit different. And you can conjure up your little speeder bike whenever you want as well, which is cool. And that has infinite boost, and you can just zip around the map. And that's awesome, really cool. So I was really pleasantly surprised by that.
So nothing but good, right?
Yeah, all good. I mean, I can't see any negative. Just the attention to detail and just how slick the entire presentation of that game looks. It just looks fantastic.
This is last gen as well. How's it going to work on last gen?
I spoke to the environment artist because he was the one running the strike mode, and he said that they have like comparison days, like every few days when they get a new build, and they make sure that they're all running kind of similarly within the kind of constraints of the technology.
Obviously textures and stuff like that.
So there's no content loss on the 360 and PS3 versions, just visual
performance. Same frame rate, is it?
Probably not, but you know, I can't imagine it will have a detrimental effect.
Okay. So I played Little Big Planet 3 today.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't much more to say. It's Little Big Planet, but with new characters that have new abilities.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of floaty gameplay.
Yeah.
I used to toggle, his name was. Just you toggle between big guy and small guy.
Okay.
And one's slow but heavy and has strength, and then the other one is small, agile and quick. And it was quite fun mixing the two up and playing 2-player, and obviously there's 4-player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same kind of stuff, right? I mean, I don't want to say same shit, different game, but
it seems
that's
like
derogatory. But
yeah,
it's good, solid kind of family fun, like platforming.
Two things about that. I mean, Little Big Planet always looked great anyway, so I don't really see how it can look that much better on PS4. And the second thing, it must be really hard to kind of show off a game like that because you're not getting the whole world building stuff, the game building aspects of it. You're purely just getting a platform level. And Little Big Planet really isn't that strong.
It's better as a level building.
Yeah.
As opposed to a platform.
Yeah, it's not its strongest suit, is it? As a platform. You just play that as a platform game. You're not getting much out of it.
Yeah, but it's usually nice humour, good solid family fun, and it makes a big change from killing people with machine guns and machetes.
True. Yeah,
so.
which is
a big E3 trend, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to see Bethesda. We're not going to really spend too long on Bethesda because we've covered Evil Within, when you can see all our preview on the channel and previews on the site. But how was your experience compared to mine?
Well, I only played Chapter 8, you played 2 chapters, and I didn't really get very far because time was kind of against me. But good atmosphere. I was surprised by how there's this kind of grainy effect on it, so it's very, very dark, very gloomy.
It's shot in super widescreen as well, isn't it? I'm not sure I like that.
I quite like it because it kind of draws you in.
Yeah.
You're right in there, and it looks like a return to form kind of Resident Evil type thing, but I wasn't that scared by the demo. I mean, there was a lot of kind of weird stuff, like a lot of audio stuff, and you knew it wasn't really connected to anything. So, I'm not really sure. I mean, the full game will probably be a better representation of what to expect there. So I popped across to Microsoft this afternoon to see some ideal Xbox games. Yeah. One of them was a really interesting concept. It's called Get Even. Oh. Farm 51. You might have heard of it. Yes, I have. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. No, I know about it. Basically, it's you're solving crime. It's a little bit like Inception. Right. That you jump into memories and solve clues and then jump out. That's half of the game, and then the other half is like an FPS. Right. Okay. But it looks stunning. Like, did you get genuinely. To play it? No, it was all hands off. There were kind of devs coming in, showing the games, and then disappearing. Then another dev would come in and show a game. Okay. And the next one we saw was, I believe it's called Nero, or something like that. I have no idea. There was a 15-minute demo. I have no idea what happened in that thing. Really? So they called it a next-gen visual novel, but they said that they're just going to put a lot of puzzles in there. To be fair, I have no idea what is going on. How are you going to write that one out? I have no idea. I'm going to look at my notes and then go, what? Yeah. But it's a puzzle thing, and it's a lot with doing lights and stuff, but they're saying that it's more about the story, but they don't just want you to be, but the gameplay plays into progressing the story. And there's nice little secrets. And it's very pretty. It looks like a bit like kind of an Avatar world, with like kind of neon and luminous and kind of stuff. Sounds nice. So it's pretty. They said next gen game with a small budget. That's what they said. Like AAA visuals on a small budget. So it sounds like Microsoft have quite a strong indie offering. Yeah. C3. Yeah. So yeah, that was that. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. You saw Disney Infinity 2.0? I did. Yeah. I actually got some time with the Spider-Man playset. So like Venom and Iron Fist, Spider-Man. and Nova, characters that haven't really been shown that much.
Yeah.
I picked that one on purpose because I thought, you know, no one's really seen that one. Everyone's seen the Avengers set.
Yeah.
No one's really seen much of this one, and you know, it looks nice. Not really my kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can see Marvel fans and Disney fans,
Yeah.
fans of the previous game, are going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you can build levels, and there's a new thing where now if you map out a section and you want to build a certain thing, it procedurally creates it for you, and then you can go and edit it or just leave it as it is.
That's cool.
So it's got some clever stuff going on. If you like the previous game, you'll love, you know, the sequel.
More like, did you play the previous one, or was that Lee did that, right?
Abrams did it.
Oh, okay. So you know the kind of improvements?
Well, I guess that procedurally generated thing is one. It doesn't look that much different visually.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of really focused on adding more tools and stuff and characters and so on. So they told me that Merida and Maleficent as well, they're going to be in it, and a load of other characters. So
Disney Infinity 2.0.
Yeah.
A little bit like Little Big Planet in that kind of perspective, but it's more the same and more kind of thing.
Yeah, you can't really have a proper sense of what it's like. I mean, we tried our best, and we shot a video of the Disney rep taking us through it. Actually, I think it was a developer, and he took us through everything.
Yeah.
So if that video turned out all right, we'll have that up on the site. And
bit of luck.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the rest. Is all me, Rich, because you can't talk about this other game here until the middle of June.
It's not been formally announced. So.
Even though we did talk about it on our vidcast very briefly, which will be up later on in the week or maybe next week.
I have no opinion of GameX.
Yeah. So I went to see EA today. EA, they've got FIFA. I didn't get a chance to play FIFA, but we've already previewed FIFA on the sites. They've got a really small offering this year.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I went there and it was like Titanfall DLC. It's like a bit like, really? It's like a title update kind of thing. And I was like, okay. Sims 4, which isn't that relevant, obviously, to our console audiences. Was there as multi-platform, but still, Sims 4. It's a Sims, but with 4 on the end and with more stuff. I went to play Battlefield Hardline. It was all right. I mean, I wasn't overawed by it.
No?
It's good fun, and I like the cops and robbers aspect. There's a good angle there and a good vibe to it, but I'm not sure the audience has forgiven the Battlefield franchise for number 4, and I don't think it does enough to put those kind of issues to bed and just like, look, new game. But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was like steal some stuff, protect some stuff, cops one round, robbers next round. You've got police cars, bikes and stuff. It's Battlefield, but with cops and robbers. Same kind of classes and stuff.
When I first saw the reveal, I was like, do you know what, this could be really good, but everything you've told me, it doesn't sound like it's as mind-blowing as...
I mean, I only got to play it for about 40 minutes, but hopefully we'll have better impressions with the beta.
Yeah, there's a preview of it back there. Can you
this is a live preview.
Right now.
It's a high-speed chase.
High-speed car chase on the highway. I don't know if you can see that.
You saw it here first.
Yeah.
Unless you're in LA and you saw it on the news.
Yeah.
So that was that. But for me, my game of the show so far, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Right.
Just because of its scope and ambition.
Well, that's some big words considering you didn't get to play it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can tell it looks like combat-wise, it plays exactly the same as 2.
Yeah.
It's got the same HUD interface and everything. It's got some of the same powers because there's I recognise the Stone Fist on the Electric Storm one. So I was like, okay. But in terms of like the character stuff, looks brilliant. I think the natural comparisons are going to be that versus The Witcher, because this is more open world now. This is like, if you can see it, you can go to it. It's not like small areas.
Yeah.
So you can be running across fields and stuff like that.
But those two games are very different prospects combat-wise, aren't they?
Yeah, and not just combat-wise, but BioWare puts more effort than anybody else into story, choice and consequence.
Well, and relationships as well.
Yeah. And that is huge this time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into too much detail now. I will in our video preview and our preview on the sites. But it's safe to say that there is that choice and consequence aspect where there's one scene in particular where did you play the other Dragon Ages? Of course you did.
Yeah.
Leliana?
Yeah.
So she's back.
Cool. I liked her.
And she was part of your squad, and in the mission that showed us earlier on in the game, they'd sent her in to be a spy.
Okay.
And she got captured and tortured.
No.
But you can choose not to send her in.
Okay.
And she doesn't but she's really bitter when you go and save her.
Right.
But later on in the scene, that bitterness from your decision earlier on in the game plays a big part in one of the kind of... So basically, you're with this kind of head of the mages.
Well, that's it. I'm not sending her in then.
Yeah. Well, but there's other ways that you can do it where she could be successful.
Okay.
So it's all about the influence and the choices that you make. But at the end of this scene, he's like, you're trying to talk to this guy to persuade him to go, yeah, back down. And he backs down. Give me this and I'll spare your life.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay. But then, actually, it would spare his son's life.
Right.
Give me this amulet, we'll spare your son's life. He's like, okay, I'll give you anything. And then the bitter Leliana comes in and does something that changes the whole outcome of that scene.
Right.
And it gives you no choice then, because something you did down the line had a massive consequence.
I love all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
The Witcher has that as well. Yeah, I love all that stuff.
And Bioware's writing's great as well. So that was brilliant. And I genuinely, I'm really hyped about it now. I was a bit worried.
Right.
I haven't seen anything of it so far. You and Lee have gone to see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited about that. And the last game I saw today, Bloodborne.
Yeah. How is it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very early. I'm surprised I was showing it at all.
Right.
But visually, it looks amazing. It's this kind of, I think it's like a 1960s Gothic kind of England kind of thing.
1960s?
1960s.
Really?
Yeah.
Gothic England?
Yeah, well, it's like cobbled streets and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like,
so, well, more like 1860s?
No, I swear I said 1960s. Okay. But more of like the art style with the, like how they're dressed and stuff.
All right.
Like, it probably is 1860.
Yeah,
but you definitely said
maybe
90s.
they were wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to, like, everyone that I was with in the presentation were liking it to Dark Souls, but it's definitely more like the main character's no armor. He's just wearing this kind of thin cloth, this cloak and these ragtag kind of outfit. It's very agile.
Okay.
There's different, like you've got this. What do they call it? It's like a saw weapon. You saw it in the press conference, like smash saw or something ridiculous. But you can have it long range and short range, so you can extend it. So it's like a big scythe, and it's slower but more powerful. Okay. But you can like bring it back into its small level, and it's quick, and you can kind of dart around. You've got a blunderbuss, which is powerful, but only really at short range.
Right.
And it can be used to open up big enemies and stuff like that. But the enemies, it's weird. It's like this. It's only set in this one town, where there's a virus going around, and it's made everyone really paranoid and kind of edgy, and everyone's chasing after these big beasts.
Yeah.
So we fought a couple of big beasts in the demo. I say we, the guy Deborah in it. And yeah, it's very agile. It's very quick paced. It's Dark Souls in the way that there's lots of rolling.
Yeah.
They said it's going to be just as challenging as Dark Souls. So it's going to be a pretty hardcore game.
So kind of Dark Souls, but a very different kind of flavour.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, whereas the one's more kind of, it's all about big hits, timing your rolling. This one's more, it's about timing and all that, and the big hits, but it's more about being agile and getting rounds and finding weaknesses. But yeah, it's looking great. This is obviously a very early stage, and they're not talking about very much. They're not talking about story. They're not talking about the fact that when you kill someone, you pick up like this glowing ball of light above them, which looks like a soul. Okay. So they're not talking about any of that, but you can see that it's steeped in those kind of roots. I mean, obviously from software as well. So
yeah, good stuff.
But yeah, that was day 2, right? Nothing else that you saw? You could talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but good day though, right?
Yeah, really
Destiny.
good day. Oh, wait a minute. No, I played Fantasia Music Evolved as well. Okay. That was embarrassing. Just kind of reaffirmed how little rhythm I have.
Yeah, is it very Dance Central?
Yeah, no, not really. Well, I don't know, I haven't really played Dance Central properly, but there's a lot of arm waving stuff. You don't really use your legs.
Yeah.
So I was playing it with one of the main devs, like one of the lead developers. So he's got loads of rhythm and he's doing it properly, and I'm there sort of struggling to keep up. So a 2-player like kind of co-op doing it, although your scores are competitive.
Yeah.
To play multiplayer, you shake hands with the person,
oh, really?
and it recognises you.
Okay, that's cool.
So the Kinect worked brilliantly. I've got to say, all that stuff worked great, and it was fun. It was actually really fun. I was surprised because I didn't think, much of what I've seen of it. But playing it, it's actually genuinely fun. And
Harmonix know Kinect, right? If anybody knows Kinect,
absolutely.
Other than Rare, it's Harmonix.
Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised again by that. So a lot of pleasant surprises today.
Good day all round.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that has been our day 3 wrap-up. Unfortunately, we won't be here to do the day 4 one.
And I'm playing Batman tomorrow.
Batman, Metal Gear, all the Ubisoft games. What am I playing? I'm going to go and see Telltale's Borderlands game.
Nice.
Which I'm quite intrigued about. Nice. So it'll be a good day. But all these videos and stuff and all our opinions and stuff will be leaking out via other channels. Things like our vidcast that we do after E3.
Yeah.
Our vidcast that we just recorded with Julia Hardy. That'll be going up as soon as I can edit a really long podcast, stroke vidcast. So yeah, thanks for joining us. That's been day 3.
See ya.
Bye.